Tonight we will explore the Pokémon world one region at a time, uncovering the hidden history, defining lore, and memorable truths that shaped each era of the anime. The story will move gently and unhurried, giving each region space to unfold naturally. Welcome to Sleepy Pokémon, where nostalgic adventures guide you into deep, peaceful rest. Chapter 1: Kanto. The Kanto region stands as the birthplace of organized Pokémon activity, where the earliest traditions of trainer competition, scientific inquiry, and cultural practice took shape. At the heart of this region lies the Indigo Plateau, home to the Pokémon League Conference. Here, the journey of a trainer finds its formal culmination. The League Conference is a grand event, bringing together those who have earned 8 gym badges to compete in a tournament that ultimately leads to a challenge against the Elite Four and the reigning champion. The opening of the conference is marked by a parade featuring gym leaders, setting a ceremonial tone as trainers and their supporters gather in a massive stadium. The stands fill with cheering crowds, and the excitement is broadcast to audiences far beyond the plateau. The competitive atmosphere is intense, with each battle carrying the hopes and ambitions of those who have traveled across Kanto. Ash Ketchum's participation in his first league conference is a central example, as his determination to reach this stage is woven throughout his journey. The league serves not only as a test of skill, but as a symbol of the trainer's path, shaping the aspirations and experiences of countless individuals. Beyond the stadiums and ceremonies, Kanto is also the site of profound scientific ambition and its consequences. The creation of Mewtwo marks the first instance of human-driven Pokémon creation through genetic manipulation. In a secluded mansion laboratory, scientists led by Mr. Fuji use Mew's DNA in an attempt to engineer a being of unparalleled strength. Their efforts result in Mewtwo, a clone designed to surpass all others. Upon awakening, Mewtwo is consumed by rage, unable to reconcile its artificial origins with the intentions of its creators. The ethical implications of this act are brought to the forefront as Mewtwo questions the purpose of its existence and the morality of those who sought to control it. The destruction of the laboratory by Mewtwo signals a turning point, not only in the relationship between humans and Pokémon, but also in the understanding of the limits of scientific intervention. This event leaves a lasting mark on the region, raising questions about the responsibilities that come with power and knowledge. The legacy of these experiments is preserved in the abandoned laboratory on Cinnabar Island, also known as the Pokémon Mansion. Once a center of research, the building now stands in ruins, its rooms scarred by fire and neglect. Scattered throughout the mansion are records and equipment left behind from failed cloning experiments on Mew. The presence of Ditto, a Pokémon with the ability to transform, is notable in this area, suggesting that these creatures may be imperfect clones resulting from the same experiments that produced Mewtwo. The remnants of scientific apparatus and burned documents offer silent testimony to the ambitions and failures of those who worked there. The mansion's history is closely tied to the broader theme of reckless scientific pursuit, as revealed through journal entries that detail the progression of cloning efforts. The site serves as a reminder of the risks inherent in pushing the boundaries of what is possible, and its connection to Mewtwo's origin underscores the far-reaching consequences of such endeavors. Amid the scientific and competitive milestones of Kanto, there is also a place dedicated to reflection and mourning. Lavender Town's Pokémon Tower stands as the first explicit recognition of Pokémon death and the rituals that accompany loss. The tower is a memorial where trainers come to bury and honor their departed companions. The atmosphere within is somber, shaped by ghostly apparitions and a haunting melody that echoes through its halls. Visitors engage in rituals such as offering prayers at headstones, and encounters with the spirits of Ghastly, Haunter, and Gengar are common. These elements are depicted in both the anime and the games, where the tower's presence is felt as a place of quiet reverence. The cultural significance of Pokémon Tower is reflected in local beliefs about restless souls and the importance of remembering those who have passed. Scenes involving Team Rocket's disguise incident further highlight the intersection of tradition and the supernatural within this setting. The tower's role in the region is to provide a space for grief and remembrance, acknowledging the emotional bonds between trainers and their Pokémon. Not all of Kanto's institutions are stable or secure. The Viridian Gym, located near the region's western edge, is notable for its repeated closures and leadership changes during Ash's journey. Early visits to the gym reveal that no leader is available, leaving local trainers unable to challenge for the Earth Badge. This instability is a source of frustration and uncertainty, as the gym's status directly affects the progress of those seeking to complete their badge collection. The eventual revelation that Giovanni, the leader of Team Rocket, is also the gym leader, ties the gym's operations to broader criminal activities. This connection is made clear in both the anime and the games, where Giovanni's dual role is exposed during key battles. The instability of the Viridian Gym serves as a foreshadowing device, hinting at the hidden influences shaping the region's gym system. For trainers like Ash, the delays and disruptions caused by the gym's closure are more than logistical obstacles. They are signs of deeper issues within the structure of organized Pokémon battling. Kanto's landmarks and events form the foundation of the Pokémon world's traditions and challenges. The Indigo Plateau's League Conference formalizes the pursuit of excellence, while the creation of Mewtwo and the ruins of Cinnabar Island's laboratory reveal the complexities of scientific progress. Lavender Town's Pokémon Tower introduces themes of loss and remembrance, and the instability of the Viridian Gym exposes the vulnerabilities within established systems. Each of these elements contributes to the region's identity, shaping the experiences of trainers and the evolution of human-Pokémon relationships. The calm yet sometimes somber atmosphere of Kanto's iconic locations invites reflection on the responsibilities and consequences that accompany ambition, discovery, and connection. Chapter 2: Johto. In Johto, the past is never far from the present. The region's landscape and culture are shaped by events that linger in memory, passed down through stories and traditions. One of the most significant events in Johto's history centers on the city of Ecruteak and the disaster that befell its iconic tower. According to legend, the brass tower once stood tall in Ecruteak City, a symbol of harmony and reverence. This changed when a lightning strike set the tower ablaze. The fire raged through the structure, consuming it, until a sudden rainstorm brought relief and extinguished the flames. The aftermath left the once proud tower a charred ruin, altering the city's skyline and leaving a permanent mark on its landscape. The disaster did not only change the physical appearance of Ecruteak, it also became the source of one of Johto's most enduring legends. During the fire, 3 unnamed Pokémon perished within the tower. Their loss is remembered in the stories told by the people of Ecruteak, who regard the event as a turning point in their city's history. The ruined structure, now known as the Burned Tower, stands as a reminder of this tragedy. Its blackened beams and collapsed roof are visible evidence of the disaster that reshaped the city's identity. The legend does not end with loss. It is said that from the ashes of the burned tower, something extraordinary occurred. The 3 Pokémon that died in the fire did not simply vanish from memory. Instead, their story continues with the emergence of 3 legendary beasts, Entei, Raikou, and Suicune. According to regional lore, these Pokémon appeared after the disaster, their origins tied directly to the tragedy at the tower. The people of Ecruteak and the wider Johto region regard this event as a moment when the natural and the mythical became intertwined. The transformation of the city's landscape was matched by a transformation in its cultural memory, as the story of the burned tower became central to Johto's identity. The role of Ho-Oh in this legend is especially important. In the stories told throughout Johto, Ho-Oh is described as appearing above the brass tower in the aftermath of the fire. The sight of this legendary Pokémon is said to have brought hope to the people of Ecruteak. More than just a symbol, Ho-Oh is believed to have resurrected the 3 Pokémon that died in the flames, giving them new life as Entei, Raikou, and Suicune. This act of resurrection is seen as embodying hope and rebirth, themes that echo through Johto's mythology. The presence of Ho-Oh above the ruined tower is not just a detail in the story. It is a moment that represents the possibility of renewal, even after great loss. The influence of Ho-Oh's actions extends beyond the immediate aftermath of the disaster. In Johto, the story of the legendary beasts roaming the land is a living part of the region's collective memory. People remember the sight of Ho-Oh above the tower and the emergence of Entei, Raikou, and Suicune as more than just a tale from the past. These stories are told and retold, shaping the way the people of Johto understand their own history. The symbolism of resurrection and hope is woven into the fabric of the region's culture, reminding each generation of the events that shaped their world. While the burned tower and the legend of Ho-Oh are central to Ecruteak's identity, Johto is also home to mysteries that reach even further into the past. The ruins of Alph, located in a quiet area of the region, are a site of enduring fascination. According to legend, these ruins contain ancient writing that connects to an early Pokémon civilization. The structures at the site are said to have been built long before modern times, their origins lost in the depths of history. The writing found within the ruins is linked to the unknown, mysterious Pokémon, whose forms resemble letters and symbols. The ruins of Alph are not simply a relic of the past. They are a place where the mysteries of early Pokémon civilization remain alive. Scholars and researchers are drawn to the site, hoping to unlock the secrets hidden within its walls. The puzzles and inscriptions found in the ruins continue to inspire curiosity and debate. The connection between the ancient writing and the unknown is a subject of ongoing study, with each discovery adding to the sense of wonder that surrounds the site. The enduring mystery of the ruins of Alph ensures that the past remains a vital part of Johto's present. The significance of the ruins of Alph is not limited to their age or the puzzles they contain. They represent a link between the earliest days of Pokémon civilization and the world that exists today. The legends associated with the site suggest that the people who built the ruins were among the first to encounter the unknown, forging a connection that has lasted through the centuries. The structures themselves stand as a testament to the skill and knowledge of those early builders, while the writing inside offers a glimpse into a time when the boundaries between people and Pokémon were still being defined. Johto's relationship with its past is not always peaceful. The region has also faced challenges that test the balance between tradition and modernity. One notable example is the takeover of the radio tower in Goldenrod City. In this event, Team Rocket used technology to further their criminal ambitions. By seizing control of the radio tower, they were able to broadcast signals intended to manipulate Pokémon. This act disrupted life in Goldenrod City and sent shockwaves throughout the region. The radio tower takeover is remembered as a moment when technology was turned against the community. The event highlighted the potential dangers that come with the advancement of modern tools. While Johto is a region that values its traditions, the incident at the radio tower forced its people to confront the realities of a changing world. The tension between the preservation of heritage and the adoption of new technology became a central issue. The narrative surrounding the takeover frames it as a conflict between the old ways and the new, with the outcome shaping the region's approach to progress. The impact of the radio tower incident extended beyond the immediate disruption. It served as a reminder that the tools people create can be used for both good and ill. The people of Johto were forced to consider how best to protect their traditions while adapting to the demands of modern life. The event remains a topic of discussion, especially in Goldenrod City, where the radio tower stands as both a symbol of technological achievement and a reminder of the risks that come with it. Throughout Johto, the preservation of history and legend is not left to chance. Oral tradition plays a vital role in ensuring that the stories of the past are remembered and understood. In Ekrutiak City and other communities, elders share tales of significant events, passing them down to younger generations. These stories are told at community gatherings, where people come together to listen and learn. The act of storytelling is more than entertainment. It is a way of shaping the region's cultural identity. The legends of Ho-Oh and the legendary beasts are among the most frequently told stories in Johto. These tales are woven into the fabric of daily life, serving as reminders of the region's unique history. The events surrounding the burned tower, the appearance of Ho-Oh, and the emergence of Entei, Raikou, and Suicune are recounted in detail, ensuring that the lessons and themes they embody are not forgotten. The oral tradition extends to other aspects of Johto's past as well, including the mysteries of the ruins of Alph and the challenges posed by modern threats. Elders play a central role in maintaining this tradition. Their knowledge and experience make them respected figures in their communities. By sharing stories, they help to preserve the values and beliefs that define Johto. The gatherings where these stories are told are important social events, bringing people together and reinforcing a sense of shared identity. The oral tradition ensures that the region's history is not confined to books or monuments, but remains a living part of everyday life. The importance of oral tradition is reflected in the way Johto's people respond to change. Whether facing the aftermath of disaster, the mysteries of ancient ruins, or the challenges of modern technology, the stories they tell provide guidance and perspective. The legends and memories passed down through generations help to shape the region's response to new events, ensuring that the lessons of the past are not lost. Johto's connection to history, legend, and memory is visible in every aspect of its culture. The ruins and towers that dot the landscape serve as reminders of events that shaped the region. The stories told by elders keep those events alive, allowing each generation to learn from what came before. The balance between tradition and progress is maintained through a shared commitment to remembering and honoring the past. In Johto, the preservation of memory is not just a matter of history, it is a way of life that continues to influence the present. Chapter 3: Hoenn. Hoenn is a region shaped by powerful forces, both natural and legendary. Its earliest stories describe a world in constant transformation, where the boundaries between land and sea were not yet settled. According to regional legend, Groudon emerged to raise the continents, pushing land up from beneath the waves. Kyogre, in contrast, expanded the oceans, spreading water across the earth. These two Pokémon are not only central figures in Hoenn's creation stories, but also serve as symbols for the cycles of land and sea that define the region's geography. Their actions are recorded in books and passed down through generations, forming the foundation of Hoenn's environmental myths. The legends do not end with creation. Groudon and Kyogre are said to have fought endlessly, their battles threatening the balance of the region. When awakened, they clashed over natural energy, especially during times when meteor showers struck the earth. In these ancient conflicts, Groudon and Kyogre assumed their primal forms, drawing on the energy of the meteors to increase their power. The land was ravaged, and the seas surged, until both Pokémon were finally put to sleep. These stories are preserved in libraries and retold in various forms, always emphasizing the importance of balance between land and sea. The mythic status of Groudon and Kyogre is reinforced in official artwork and scenes from the games, where their immense size and elemental powers are depicted as shaping the very world around them. The influence of these legends extends beyond myth and into the actions of people in Hoenn. Two organizations, Team Magma and Team Aqua, emerged as direct responses to the ancient stories. Team Magma interprets the legends as a call to expand the land, believing that more territory will benefit humanity and Pokémon alike. Their goal is to awaken Groudon, using its power to increase the size of the continents. This motivation is seen in their actions throughout the region, as they seek out ancient sites and pursue the means to control Groudon. In contrast, Team Aqua views the myths as supporting the dominance of water. They aim to revive Kyogre, hoping to expand the oceans and create a world where water is the primary force. The leaders of these teams, Maxie and Archie, often debate the merits of land versus sea, each citing the legends to justify their actions. These organizations are not simply villains. Their actions are framed as misguided attempts to control forces beyond their understanding. Both teams select parts of the traditional stories that support their goals, ignoring the warnings about the dangers of upsetting the natural balance. In their pursuit of power, they risk triggering the very disasters described in the ancient myths. The games and anime episodes show the consequences of their actions, as the awakening of Groudon and Kyogre leads to extreme weather and widespread chaos. Dialogue between the team's leaders reveals their deep convictions, but also their inability to see the full picture. The legends they rely on are more complex than they realize, emphasizing not just the power of land and sea, but the need for harmony between them. As the region faces the consequences of these actions, scientific organizations step in to respond. The Weather Institute is a facility dedicated to monitoring Hoenn's extreme weather patterns. Its scientists track abnormal climate events, such as harsh sunlight and heavy rain, which are directly linked to the awakenings of Groudon and Kyogre. The institute serves as a hub for research and crisis response, analyzing data and coordinating efforts to understand and mitigate the effects of legendary-induced weather. In both the games and anime, the Weather Institute is shown as a place where observation and action come together. Researchers use advanced equipment to study the unpredictable climate, seeking to uncover the connections between natural phenomena and the activities of legendary Pokémon. The work of the Weather Institute highlights the intersection of myth and science in Hoenn. While the stories of Groudon and Kyogre are ancient, their impact is felt in the present, through real and measurable changes in the environment. The Institute's research connects the primal forces described in legend with the region's ongoing weather crises. During periods of widespread chaos, the facility becomes a center of activity, with scientists and trainers working together to respond to the threats posed by the legendary Pokémon. The presence of the Institute underscores the importance of understanding and respecting the natural world, even as people seek to harness its power. In the midst of these conflicts, another legendary Pokémon plays a crucial role. Rayquaza is described in legend as a mediator, intervening from the sky to stop the battles between Groudon and Kyogre. Its presence is seen as a balancing force, restoring harmony when the land and sea are at odds. In ancient times, the Draconid people are said to have summoned Rayquaza by making wishes on meteors, calling upon its power to end the destructive wars between the other legendaries. Rayquaza's intervention is depicted in both game lore and animated episodes, where it descends from the sky to calm the raging elements. Rayquaza's role is further emphasized through its unique abilities. During a particularly intense conflict, it is shown performing its first mega-evolution, using a special meteorite to increase its power and force Groudon and Kyogre into slumber. This event is remembered as a turning point, marking the end of the Primal Wars and the restoration of balance. The Sky Pillar, a towering structure in Hoenn, was built in Rayquaza's honor after these interventions. It stands as a symbol of the Pokémon's calming influence and its importance as a guardian of the sky. The stories and locations associated with Rayquaza reinforce its status as a protector, watching over the region and stepping in when the balance is threatened. The landscape of Hoenn bears the marks of these ancient events. Ruins scattered across the region, both floating and submerged, hint at cycles of destruction and renewal. In the deserts, explorers find remnants of past civilizations, while beneath the waves submerged sites tell of worlds lost to the sea. These ruins are more than just historical curiosities. They are evidence of the legendary battles that once shook the region, as well as the periods of renewal that followed. The Cave of Origin and Seafloor Cavern are two sites closely tied to these myths. Hidden from view, they serve as the slumbering places for Kyogre and Groudon, linking the physical landscape to the stories passed down through generations. The connection between ruins and legend is reinforced by the region's history of meteor impacts and primal wars. Floating structures and sunken remains are seen as symbols of renewal after catastrophe, marking the cycles of upheaval and balance that define Hoenn. Official maps and lore describe these sites as part of an ongoing process, where the forces of land and sea are constantly in flux. The presence of these ruins invites exploration and reflection, encouraging people to consider the deeper patterns that shape the world around them. Throughout Hoenn, the interplay between myth, environment, and human action is ever present. The stories of Groudon, Kyogre, and Rayquaza are not just tales of the past, but living elements of the region's identity. Organizations like Team Magma and Team Aqua draw on these legends to guide their actions, while scientific institutions work to understand and respond to the consequences. The ruins and ancient sites scattered across the land serve as reminders of the cycles that have shaped Hoenn for generations. In this region, the balance between land, sea, and sky is more than a theme. It is a reality, woven into the fabric of daily life and the stories that continue to inspire new generations. Chapter 4: Sinnoh. Sinnoh's mythology begins in the quiet halls of the Canalave Library, where ancient texts describe the world's origin as emerging from chaos. According to these records, the first moment of order came with the appearance of an egg, from which a godlike Pokémon arose. This figure, known as Arceus, is presented in both library accounts and official Pokédex entries as the central force in Sinnoh's creation story. The narrative does not treat Arceus as a mere historical figure, but as a sacred symbol whose actions explain the natural order and the presence of legendary Pokémon throughout the region. In the stories preserved by Sinnoh's residents, Arceus is not only the first being, but also the architect of everything that followed. The myth continues with Arceus shaping the world by creating other powerful beings. Among these are Dialga and Palkia, each given dominion over a fundamental aspect of reality. Dialga is described as the master of time, while Palkia is entrusted with the domain of space. These roles are detailed in both in-game narration and Pokédex descriptions, which reinforce the idea that time and space themselves are not abstract concepts, but are embodied by these legendary Pokémon. After setting these forces in motion, Arceus is said to have retreated to the Hall of Origin, a realm above the Spear Pillar, where it remains apart from the world it created. This retreat is a recurring theme in Sinnoh's art and literature, with official artwork often depicting Arceus surrounded by symbols of creation, further emphasizing its foundational role. Within Sinnoh's culture, Arceus is more than a figure from the past. The stories told in libraries and museums treat its actions as the explanation for the world's structure and the ongoing presence of legendary Pokémon. Residents regard these myths as sacred, using them to understand the forces that shape their environment. The iconography found in official art and Pokédex entries, with Arceus often shown at the center of intricate designs, serves to reinforce its status as the origin of all things. This reverence is woven into the region's traditions, making Arceus a constant presence in the collective imagination of Sinnoh's people. The influence of Dialga and Palkia extends beyond myth into the observable world. Dialga, as described in Pokédex entries and in-game text, is the Pokémon that governs time. Its presence is associated with the flow and distortion of temporal events. Palkia, on the other hand, is linked to the fabric of space, with its abilities affecting the very dimensions that define the physical world. These connections are not only stated in official descriptions, but are also demonstrated through dramatic encounters in both games and anime adaptations. Scenes depicting the powers of Dialga and Palkia often show large-scale distortions, such as sudden temporal anomalies or the appearance of spatial rifts, which alter the environment and disrupt the natural order. The impact of these legendary Pokémon is felt throughout Sinnoh's history. Regional legends, as recorded in the Kanto library, interpret the struggles or imbalances between Dialga and Palkia as the cause of unusual natural phenomena. When these forces are disturbed, the consequences are immediate and far-reaching. In both game events and movie scenes, the confrontation between Dialga and Palkia at key locations leads to visible changes in the world, such as shifts in time or the warping of space. These moments are not only central to the narrative, but also serve as explanations for the mysteries that surround Sinnoh's landscape. Spear Pillar, a sacred mountaintop site, is repeatedly depicted as the place where these legendary encounters reach their climax. Both in-game and in the anime, Spear Pillar is shown as the locus where the powers of Dialga and Palkia become manifest. The site itself is described in official dialogue and location guides as a convergence point for cosmic forces, making it the setting for some of the most significant events in Sinnoh's story. When both Dialga and Palkia are disturbed at Spear Pillar, the resulting distortions are portrayed in cinematic sequences, highlighting the delicate balance that must be maintained between time and space. Beyond the grand forces of creation and the structure of reality, Sinnoh's mythology also addresses the nature of human consciousness and emotion. The Lake Guardians, Uxie, Mesprit, and Azelf, are central to this aspect of the region's lore. In-game Pokédex entries and the Kanto library identify Uxie as the embodiment of knowledge, Mesprit as the spirit of emotion, and Azelf as the source of willpower. These roles are not only stated in official texts, but are also reflected in the Guardians' interactions with humans throughout the games and anime episodes. Encounters with the Lake Guardians suggest that they have a direct influence on human minds and societal values. Legends and in-game dialogue describe moments when the Guardians affect the thoughts or spirits of those they meet. For example, Uxie is said to grant or withhold knowledge, Mesprit is associated with the ebb and flow of emotion, and Azelf is linked to the strength of will. These qualities are not abstract. They are presented as real forces that shape the lives and cultures of Sinnoh's people. Regional myths, preserved in libraries and retold in towns, attribute the development of human qualities and moral lessons to the presence of the Lake Guardians. Local stories interpret their influence as foundational to emotional life and cultural practices, making them enduring motifs in the region's collective memory. The roles of Uxie, Mesprit, and Azelf are integrated into Sinnoh's history through specific in-game events and ceremonial references. Scripted encounters and story beats in the main games, as well as scenes in the anime, present the Lake Guardians as active participants in the unfolding narrative. Their presence is often invoked during times of crisis or change, reinforcing their status as protectors and guides. In this way, the Lake Guardians serve as a bridge between the cosmic forces embodied by Arceus, Dialga and Palkia, and the everyday experiences of Sinnoh's inhabitants. Spear Pillar stands as the physical and symbolic center of Sinnoh's mythology. Identified in-game as a sacred site, it is closely associated with the appearance and resting place of major legendary Pokémon. Official dialogue and location descriptions emphasize its significance as the point where cosmic forces converge. Game narratives and cinematic sequences frame Spear Pillar as the nexus where the boundaries between dimensions are thin, making it the stage for legendary encounters involving Arceus, Dialga, and Palkia. Regional legends and library accounts describe Spear Pillar as the place where creation events occurred. It is often depicted as the site where the world was first shaped, and where the balance between time, space, and antimatter is maintained. This characterization is supported by in-game books and tales, which present Spear Pillar as a place of mystery and power. Maps and in-game geography consistently situate major legendary confrontations at this location, reinforcing its role as a focal point for mythic events. Story scenes and event scripts use Spear Pillar to anchor the narrative, making it the setting for moments when the fabric of reality is tested or restored. The significance of Spear Pillar is not limited to its role in legendary battles. It is also a place of pilgrimage and reverence, where the people of Sinnoh come to reflect on the origins of their world. The site's prominence in both official maps and regional folklore underscores its importance as a link between the physical and the mythic, the known and the mysterious. Within this landscape of myth and legend, Team Galactic emerges as a force with a radically different vision. In-game dialogue, character profiles, and story events present Team Galactic's leader and members as pursuing a plan to remake the world by manipulating the powers of legendary Pokémon. Their doctrine, as stated in cutscenes and character dialogue, emphasizes the restructuring of reality itself. Team Galactic's rhetoric and actions reveal an ideology that seeks to remove or suppress what they describe as chaotic emotion, aiming to build a new world according to their own design. This philosophy is not merely theoretical. In-game events show Team Galactic conducting experiments and rituals intended to harness the power of legendaries such as Dialga and Palkia. Their goal is to erase the influence of emotion and create a reality governed by order and control. These actions are depicted in both games and anime, where the group's attempts to manipulate legendary forces lead to dramatic confrontations and unintended consequences. Some in-game textual sources and character reactions frame Team Galactic's ambitions as dangerous hubris. Local residents, as reflected in NPC dialogue and library commentary, view the group's goals as a threat to the balance maintained by the region's legendary Pokémon. This perspective is rooted in Sinnoh's mythic traditions, which emphasize the importance of emotion, knowledge, and willpower as essential elements of human life. The philosophical conflict between Team Galactic's mechanistic vision and the cultural reverence for legendaries and emotion is depicted through direct dialogue and story beats. Official in-game profiles and encounters highlight this contrast, using the group's actions to explore the boundaries between ambition and respect for the forces that shape the world. Sinnoh's narrative is shaped by the interplay of creation myths, legendary powers, and human ambition. The stories preserved in libraries and retold in towns provide a framework for understanding the region's unique relationship with its legendary Pokémon. Arceus stands at the center of these myths, its actions giving rise to the forces of time and space embodied by Dialga and Palkia. The Lake Guardians serve as guides and protectors, influencing the emotional and intellectual life of Sinnoh's people. Spear Pillar anchors these stories in a specific place, serving as the nexus where dimensions meet and the balance of the world is maintained. Against this backdrop, Team Galactic's pursuit of a new reality challenges the values and traditions that define Sinnoh, prompting reflection on the meaning of creation, emotion, and the limits of human control. Chapter 5. Unova. Unova's history begins with a legend of division and unity. In the earliest stories passed down through the region, there was once a single dragon Pokémon. This dragon was not only powerful, but also deeply connected to the two brothers who would shape Unova's destiny. These brothers, known in regional mythology as the heroes who united warring tribes, each held a different vision for the future. One brother sought truth, believing in honesty and clarity, while the other pursued ideals, striving for hope and dreams. Their conflicting philosophies became so intense that even the dragon itself could not remain whole. According to the tales recounted at Dragon Spiral Tower and in the region's oldest texts, the dragon split into two distinct beings, Reshiram, representing truth, and Zekrom, embodying ideals. The split was not a peaceful one. The brothers, now each aligned with a dragon, entered into a fierce battle. This conflict was said to have caused widespread destruction across the land. The dragon's immense power left a mark on Unova's landscape and its people. As the struggle reached its peak, the bodies of Reshiram and Zekrom transformed into the Lightstone and the Darkstone. These stones became legendary artifacts, holding the essence of the dragons and the unresolved conflict between truth and ideals. The legend also speaks of Kuram, a third figure that emerged from the original dragon's division. Unlike Reshiram and Zekrom, Kuram is described as embodying a balance between the two opposing forces, existing as a reminder of what was lost in the split. The story of the twin dragons is more than a myth. It serves as a foundation for Unova's identity, shaping the region's understanding of conflict and coexistence. The dragons are not just creatures of power, they are symbols of the choices and beliefs that define Unova's people. Their division is reflected in the region's ongoing debates and struggles, making the legend a living part of unfit culture. In both anime episodes and game cutscenes, the dragon's story is retold to highlight the importance of understanding and reconciling different perspectives. The symbolism of truth and ideals runs through Unova's history, influencing how its inhabitants view themselves and their world. Physical reminders of this ancient conflict still stand across Unova. The Relic Castle, located deep within the desert, is one of the most significant sites tied to the era of the twin dragons. Built by one of the founding brothers and his dragon over 2,500 years ago, the castle served as a center of civilization during a time when the region was still taking shape. Its architecture, with its winding corridors and hidden chambers, reflects the complexity and ambition of its creators. The castle's ruins have preserved artifacts from the time of the brothers, offering glimpses into the lives and beliefs of early Unovans. Another important site is the Abyssal Ruins, an ancient city constructed around 3,000 years ago by the other brother and his dragon. Unlike the Relic Castle, the Abyssal Ruins are submerged and difficult to access, adding to their air of mystery. Within these ruins, explorers have discovered relic items that connect directly to Unova's early history. The artifacts found here, from inscribed tablets to ceremonial objects, serve as tangible links to the region's founding era. Both the Relic Castle and the Abyssal Ruins are framed in regional lore as more than just old buildings. They are seen as physical remnants of the ideological conflict between truth and ideals, preserving the memory of the brothers' choices and the dragon's power. The architecture and layout of these sites reflect the enduring impact of the ancient conflict. The Relic Castle's design suggests a society organized around the pursuit of ideals, with spaces for gathering and planning. The Abyssal Ruins, with their hidden passages and cryptic inscriptions, hint at a culture that valued truth and the search for understanding. These differences are not accidental. They mirror the philosophies of the brothers who built them, making the castles and ruins silent witnesses to Unova's foundational debates. Explorers and historians continue to study these sites, seeking to understand how the past shapes the present. Unova's history is not only preserved in stone and legend, it is also reflected in the region's modern conflicts. Team Plasma, a group that emerges in the present day, claims to champion the cause of Pokémon liberation. Their public message is one of equality, arguing that Pokémon should be freed from human control to achieve true harmony. This rhetoric is delivered in speeches, rallies, and broadcasts, reaching trainers and citizens across Unova. Team Plasma's arguments spark widespread debate, challenging long-held beliefs about the relationship between humans and Pokémon. Beneath this public image, however, lies a different reality. Team Plasma's leadership, particularly Getsis, exerts strict control over the group's members. While the organization presents itself as a movement for justice, its internal structure is authoritarian. Getsis manipulates N, the group's figurehead, as well as lower-ranking members, steering their actions toward his own goals. The true aim is not liberation but conquest. This becomes clear during the climax of the main storyline, where Getsis's intentions are revealed. He seeks to use the idea of liberation as a tool to gain power over Unova, rather than to achieve genuine equality. In the sequels Pokémon Black 2 and White 2, Team Plasma abandons the pretense of liberation altogether. The group's new objective is domination of the region, using force and intimidation rather than persuasion. This shift exposes the underlying motives that were present from the beginning. The contrast between Team Plasma's public rhetoric and its internal operations serves as a commentary on the dangers of ideology being used for personal gain. The group's actions highlight the complexities of social movements and the importance of questioning leaders' true intentions. The concept of Pokémon liberation, introduced by Team Plasma, becomes a central issue in Unova's society. It is not simply a matter of right and wrong. The idea sparks genuine debate among trainers, citizens, and communities. In conversations and story events throughout the region, characters express a range of opinions. Some support the idea, believing that Pokémon should have the freedom to choose their own paths. Others reject it, arguing that the bonds between humans and Pokémon are built on trust and mutual respect. Hoenn, Team Plasma's most visible leader, sincerely believes that separating Pokémon from humans is the only way to end exploitation. His perspective is shaped by his own experiences and the teachings he has received. However, this belief is challenged by the player and other characters, who point to examples of friendship and cooperation. The debates that unfold in Unova are not resolved easily. They reflect the diversity of thought within the region, as well as the influence of its legendary history. Communities respond in different ways, with some embracing the idea of liberation and others defending traditional relationships. Unova's approach to the concept of liberation is shaped by its foundational themes of truth and ideals. The issue is framed as a philosophical question, rather than a simple policy or law. This framing encourages ongoing discussion and reflection, both within the games and among the region's inhabitants. The debates about Pokémon liberation echo the ancient conflict between the brothers, showing how old ideas continue to shape new challenges. A distinctive feature of Unova is the way it presents its legendary Pokémon. In many regions, legendary Pokémon are seen as forces of nature, responsible for storms, time, or space. In Unova, however, Reshiram and Zekrom are symbols of abstract ideals. Reshiram stands for truth, while Zekrom represents ideals. These dragons are invoked not in response to natural disasters, but in the midst of philosophical struggles. Their presence in the storylines is tied to human debates about belief, purpose, and the nature of relationships. The twin dragons are depicted as choosing sides in these debates. In key moments, they align themselves with individuals or groups who embody their respective ideals. This dynamic is shown in cutscenes and recitals of legend, where the dragons' choices influence the course of events. The dragons are not passive observers, they are active participants in Unova's ongoing conflicts. Their actions serve as a reminder that beliefs have consequences, and that the pursuit of truth or ideals can shape the world. This reframing of legendary Pokémon has a significant impact on Unova's culture. The dragons are not just powerful creatures to be feared or worshipped. They are seen as embodiments of the region's most important values. Their stories are told in schools, at historical sites, and during public ceremonies. The legends position Reshiram and Zekrom as central figures in Unova's identity, representing the opposing worldviews that continue to define the region's conflicts. Sites like Dragon Spiral Tower play a key role in maintaining this cultural memory. The tower is not only a place of legend, but also a space for reflection and debate. Visitors come to learn about the dragons and to consider the meaning of truth and ideals in their own lives. The presence of the legendary Pokémon in these discussions reinforces their status as symbols, rather than mere forces of nature. Unova's approach to legendary Pokémon and social issues sets it apart from other regions. By framing its dragons as embodiments of belief systems, Unova encourages its people to engage with complex questions. The region's history, architecture, and ongoing debates all reflect the influence of the twin dragons and the ideals they represent. Through its legends and its conflicts, Unova remains a place where truth and ideals are not just stories of the past, but living forces that shape the present. Chapter 6. Kalos. 3,000 years before the present day, the Kalos region was the site of a war that would define its history for generations. This conflict, remembered in both legend and recorded memory, was marked by its extraordinary scale and the tragic use of Pokémon as instruments of battle. The war's violence grew unchecked, with armies clashing across vast fields. In the shadow of this devastation, the people of Kalos faced loss on a scale that would shape their culture and collective memory. The stones that line Menhir Trail, stretching in silent rows, are said to mark the graves of hundreds of Pokémon who perished during this time. These markers stand as a somber testament to the countless lives lost, both human and Pokémon, and to the enduring sorrow that followed. Flashbacks in the Kalos anime and stories told in the region's towns recall the enormity of the conflict, showing battlefields filled with chaos and the aftermath of destruction. The war's legacy is not one of triumph, but of mourning and reflection, as the region's people struggled to understand the cost of their actions. As the war dragged on, desperation led to the creation of a device that would change Kalos forever. Beneath the ground at Geosenge Town AZ, the king of Kalos constructed the ultimate weapon. This device was unlike anything seen before, drawing its power from the life force of captured Pokémon. The process was both deliberate and devastating. Pokémon were gathered, and their energy, known as Infinity Energy, was extracted to fuel the weapon. The act of harnessing this energy resulted in the deaths of those Pokémon, a fact that weighs heavily in the region's lore. When the weapon was finally activated, it unleashed a massive blast of energy that swept across the battlefield. Game cutscenes and anime references depict this moment with stark imagery: a surge of light, armies obliterated, and the land itself scarred by the force of the blast. The weapon's power did not discriminate, bringing ruin to both sides and ending the war not with victory, but with overwhelming loss. The ethical implications of using Pokémon life force as an energy source are central to the story, raising questions about the boundaries of power and the responsibilities of those who wield it. The construction and purpose of the ultimate weapon remain a point of reflection in Kalos, a reminder of the dangers inherent in unchecked ambition. The consequences of the weapon's use were not limited to the battlefield. Aze, who had built the device in a desperate attempt to revive his beloved Floette, was forever changed by his actions. Upon completing and firing the weapon, Az gained immortality. This transformation was not a blessing, but a burden. His Floette, unable to forgive the destruction wrought by the weapon, left him. Aze was left to wander the world, isolated and consumed by grief. His story is revealed through in-game revelations and depicted in the anime, where his endless regret and detachment from humanity are explored. Immortality, in Az's case, is presented as a curse, a direct result of his obsession with resurrection and the choices he made during the war. Encounters with modern trainers bring his story into the present, allowing others to witness the weight of his sorrow and the lessons he has carried for centuries. Az's journey is marked by philosophical questions about the nature of loss, the consequences of one's actions, and the possibility of redemption. His role in Kalos history is not that of a hero, but of a figure whose mistakes continue to shape the region's understanding of itself. The energy released by the ultimate weapon did not simply vanish after the war. Instead, it left a lasting mark on Kalos, giving rise to a phenomenon that would become central to the region's identity: Mega Evolution. Lore within the Tower of Mastery tells of an ancient trainer and a Lucario who, long ago, discovered mysterious stones that enabled the first Mega Evolution. This transformation, unique to Kalos, is closely tied to the infinity energy unleashed by the weapon. Game mechanics reinforce this connection, as Mega Evolution can only occur through the use of special stones and the bond between trainer and Pokémon. The energy that powers Mega Evolution is understood to be an echo of the weapon's force, repurposed in the present for a new kind of transformation. In the anime, Mega Evolution is depicted as a powerful but sometimes unpredictable force, symbolically linked to the region's ancient history. The ongoing influence of the war is felt in every Mega Evolution battle, as trainers and Pokémon tap into a power that originated in tragedy. This connection shapes how Mega Evolution is perceived in Kalos, blending admiration for its potential with an awareness of its somber origins. Throughout Kalos's history, the themes of regret and reconciliation are woven into the stories told by its people. The narrative does not celebrate victory in war, but instead focuses on the profound regret felt by those who survived. Az's journey, culminating in the return of his Floette, is a moment of release from guilt, but not of triumph. The region's lore emphasizes healing and understanding, with characters reflecting on the horrors of the past and seeking ways to move forward. Modern events in Kalos are shaped by a desire for harmony between people and Pokémon, a response to the losses suffered long ago. The philosophical reflections found in Az's arc, both in games and anime, frame Kalos as a place of remembrance rather than conquest. The region's identity is built on the lessons of its history, prioritizing reconciliation and the search for peace over the celebration of past glories. In this way, Kalos stands as a testament to the enduring impact of loss and the ongoing effort to find meaning and healing in its aftermath. Chapter 7. Alola. Alola is a region defined by its deep connections to tradition, nature, and the unseen forces that shape its islands. Each of the four main islands, Melemele, Akala, Ula Ula, and Poni, holds a unique relationship with a guardian deity known as a Tapu. These guardians are not only legendary figures, but are also woven into the daily lives and beliefs of the people. Tapu Koko is linked to Melemele, Tapu Lele to Akala, Tapu Bulu to Ulawala, and Tapu Fini to Poni. The Tapu are seen as protectors, a view supported by many accounts in the region's records and stories. Residents often speak of the Tapu as active participants in the safety and prosperity of their islands. In various events and ceremonies, the Tapu are honored and invoked, reflecting a bond that is both spiritual and practical. These deities are not distant myths. They are present in the rituals and festivals that mark the rhythm of Alolan life. In moments of crisis, such as threats to the island or its people, the Tapu have been shown to intervene directly, reinforcing their role as defenders. This protective aspect is not limited to folklore. In several documented events, the Tapu have acted to shield their islands from harm, sometimes appearing during significant trials or when the balance of the island is at risk. The Guardians' involvement in ceremonial practices is also evident in the way they are integrated into the structure of island rituals. Their presence is felt during festivals, and their blessings are sought for important milestones. The Tapu are central to the identity of each island, shaping not only the spiritual landscape, but also the communal traditions that define Alolan society. In animated stories, the Tapu are depicted interacting with both people and Pokémon, sometimes guiding, sometimes testing, but always maintaining a watchful presence over their domains. Beyond the visible world, Alola is shaped by phenomena that connect it to other dimensions. Ultra wormholes are mysterious portals that occasionally appear across the region. These wormholes are described as gateways to other worlds, and their appearance is often accompanied by unusual energy patterns. When an ultra wormhole opens, it can bring with it creatures and forces not native to Alola. The arrival of these portals is not a common event, but when it occurs, it is marked by noticeable changes in the environment and by the sudden presence of unfamiliar Pokémon. The energy associated with ultra wormholes is distinct, sometimes causing distortions or influencing the flow of power on the islands. In some accounts, bursts of energy from these wormholes have been linked to changes in local battle phenomena, suggesting that the dimensional activity has a direct effect on the region's unique traditions. Stories and reports from both researchers and residents describe the opening of ultra wormholes as extraordinary occurrences. In some narratives, these events are framed as dramatic crossings between worlds, with the portals serving as bridges to realms beyond normal understanding. While scientific study of ultra wormholes is ongoing, many in Alola view them with a sense of awe and caution, recognizing their potential to alter the balance of the islands. In visual media, ultra wormholes are often shown as swirling, luminous rifts, emphasizing their role as conduits between dimensions. Their unpredictable nature and the mysteries they bring have made them a subject of fascination and concern throughout the region. The arrival of ultra beasts through these wormholes introduces another layer of complexity to Alola's story. Ultra beasts are not native to the Pokémon world, as it is commonly understood. Instead, they originate from dimensions beyond the familiar. When an ultra wormhole opens, it sometimes allows these beings to enter Alola. Encounters with ultra beasts are rare and often disruptive. Their presence can unsettle local wildlife and create situations that require careful intervention. Researchers and trainers who encounter ultra beasts often note their unusual abilities and behaviors, which differ from those of native Pokémon. The motivations and biology of ultra beasts are not fully understood, leading to a mix of scientific inquiry and speculation among those who study them. Some accounts treat ultra beasts as almost mythic invaders, beings whose origins and intentions remain mysterious. Their arrival is sometimes seen as a test or a challenge, prompting coordinated efforts to understand and, if necessary, contain them. In stories and visual depictions, ultra beasts are presented as powerful and otherworldly, their forms and actions setting them apart from the creatures of Alola. Their impact on the region is significant, prompting both caution and curiosity among residents and visitors alike. The presence of ultra beasts underscores the unique position of Alola as a crossroads between worlds, a place where the boundaries of reality are more fluid than elsewhere. Alola's traditions are also reflected in the practice of Z moves, a phenomenon that blends ritual, ceremony, and battle. Z moves are special techniques that can only be performed through the use of Z rings and Z crystals, items that are deeply integrated into the region's cultural practices. The process of accessing Z power is not simply a matter of mechanics. It involves coordinated rituals that are often performed during important island ceremonies. Certain Z crystals, such as Tapunium Z, are directly linked to the guardian deities and are granted or used in the context of significant events. The use of Z moves is described by many as both a practical tool in battle and a meaningful expression of local tradition. Characters in Alola often speak of Z moves with reverence, highlighting their ceremonial importance as well as their effectiveness in contests. The performance of a Z move is a communal act, requiring synchronization between trainer and Pokémon, and is often accompanied by gestures or dances that reflect the island's customs. In animated portrayals, Z moves are shown as spectacular displays that capture both the power and the spirit of Alolan culture. The rituals surrounding Z moves reinforce the idea that strength in Alola is not only about individual ability, but also about respect for tradition and the bonds between people and Pokémon. The communal nature of Alolan society is further emphasized in the structure of its trials and challenges. Unlike other regions that rely on a system of individual gym battles, Alola has developed a tradition of island trials led by trial captains and kahunas. These trials are designed as communal experiences, where participants work together and support one another through a series of tests. The focus is not solely on competition, but on cooperation, learning, and mutual respect. The trial system is rooted in long-standing traditions, with each trial reflecting the unique character of its island and its people. Participants are often guided by local leaders, who provide mentorship and encouragement throughout the process. The trials themselves can involve a variety of tasks, from solving puzzles to facing powerful Pokémon, but always within a framework that values community and shared achievement. In stories and depictions of Alolan life, group challenges and support networks are common themes, illustrating the importance of working together for the well-being of the island. The communal spirit is also reflected in the way residents celebrate successes and support those who face difficulties. The trial system is more than a series of tests. It is a reflection of the values that define Alolan culture. Through these communal rites, participants develop a deeper connection to the land, to each other, and to the traditions that have shaped the region for generations. Alola's unique features, its guardian deities, dimensional connections, and communal traditions, create a region where the boundaries between the natural and the mystical are often blurred. The Tapu serve as both protectors and symbols of the island's enduring spirit. Ultra wormholes and ultra beasts remind residents of the wider universe and the mysteries that lie beyond. Z moves and the rituals that surround them express the region's commitment to tradition and unity. The trial system fosters cooperation and respect, ensuring that the values of the community are passed down through each generation. In every aspect of life, from daily routines to extraordinary events, Alola's people and Pokémon are shaped by the forces that make their home unlike any other. The region stands as a testament to the power of tradition, the importance of community, and the enduring bonds between the seen and the unseen. Chapter 8. Galar. Long ago, the Galar region faced a crisis that shaped its entire history. According to ancient records, a meteorite struck the land 20,000 years before the present day. This meteorite carried with it a being not of this world, known as Eternatus. For thousands of years, the presence of this Pokémon went unnoticed beneath the surface of Galar. It was only 3,000 years ago that Eternatus awakened, bringing about an event that would be remembered in legend as the Darkest Day. During this time, a black storm swept across the region. The skies darkened, and countless Pokémon throughout Galar began to grow to enormous sizes, displaying powers never seen before. This phenomenon, later understood as Dynamax and Gigantamax, caused chaos and fear among the people and Pokémon alike. The Darkest Day is described in regional stories as a disaster that threatened to destroy Galar. These accounts, preserved in libraries and depicted on murals, tell of a time when the natural order was upended. The storm raged, and the land was thrown into turmoil. In some retellings, the event is shown as a warning about unchecked power and the dangers that can arise from forces beyond human understanding. The crisis was so severe that it left a lasting mark on the culture and memory of the region. Even in modern times, references to the Darkest Day appear in official descriptions and are discussed by researchers and historians. Scenes from movies and episodes set in Galar sometimes draw on this ancient disaster, using it as a backdrop to explore the region's relationship with power and history. The aftermath of the Darkest Day was not only a story of destruction, but also of hope and heroism. In the midst of the chaos, two legendary Pokémon emerged. Zacian and Zamazenta, known as the Wolf Heroes of Galar, appeared alongside two human youths. Together, these four figures confronted Eternatus. The partnership between the wolves and the humans is a central theme in Galar's oldest legends. According to accounts found in books and murals, the wolves wielded great power and wisdom, while the human youths displayed courage and determination. Their combined efforts succeeded in stopping Eternatus and sealing it away, ending the Darkest Day and saving the region from further devastation. The events surrounding Zacian, Zamazenta, and their human allies are depicted in several key locations throughout Galar. The Slumbering Weald and Hammerlock Stadium are especially important in these stories. In these places, the legendary Pokémon and their partners are said to have faced Eternatus directly. After the crisis, the two human youths were crowned as the kings of Galar. This act established a new era for the region, with the memory of their deeds preserved in song and story. Over time, however, the roles of Zacian and Zamazenta faded from public memory. Statues and myths in places like Stow-on-Side focus on the human kings, while the legendary wolves are often omitted or only hinted at. This gradual forgetting is reflected in the way regional myths have changed, with the Pokémon heroes becoming background figures in the narrative of Galar's salvation. Despite their fading presence in popular memory, the partnership between the wolves and the humans remains a key part of Galar's identity. Researchers such as Sonia have worked to uncover the truth behind these legends, piecing together evidence from books, murals, and ancient artifacts. Their findings suggest that the salvation of Galar was only possible because of the alliance between humans and Pokémon. This theme is echoed in official region lore, which frames the Darkest Day as a moment when cooperation and bravery overcame a seemingly unstoppable threat. The legacy of the Darkest Day is also visible in the physical landscape of Galar. One of the most important features of the region is the presence of power spots. These are locations where Dynamax energy is concentrated, allowing Pokémon to grow to immense sizes during battles. The origin of this energy is traced back to the meteorite that brought Eternatus to Galar. Over thousands of years, particles from Eternatus' body, known as Galar particles, have leaked into the land. These particles gather in certain places, creating power spots that serve as the foundation for the region's unique battle culture. The connection between Eternatus and Dynamax energy is a subject of ongoing research in Galar. Historical accounts and scientific studies agree that Pokémon can only Dynamax within the boundaries of power spots. This limitation is due to the specific energy concentrations found in these areas. The phenomenon is not random, but is tied directly to the ancient crisis and the lingering influence of Eternatus. Fragments of Eternatus' body, scattered during the darkest day, are said to have given rise to wishing pieces and wishing stars. These objects are essential for creating Dynamax bands, which trainers use to channel the energy safely during battles. The spread of Dynamax phenomena across Galar's stadiums and wild areas is a direct result of these ancient events. Each stadium is built on a power spot, allowing gym leaders and challengers to harness the energy for dramatic battles. In the wild, certain locations also display these effects, with Pokémon sometimes growing to enormous sizes without warning. The presence of Dynamax energy has become a defining feature of Galar's environment, shaping both its natural and cultural landscape. The role of gym leaders in Galar is closely tied to the region's relationship with Dynamax energy. Gym leaders are not only skilled trainers, but also serve as public figures who inspire and unite the community. They participate in gym challenges, held at stadiums, where the use of Dynamax is a central feature. These events draw large crowds and are broadcast throughout the region, boosting morale and fostering a sense of shared identity. The gym leader's influence extends beyond the battlefield. Their actions and decisions can affect the mood and spirit of the entire region. During times of crisis, gym leaders have played important roles in maintaining public safety. For example, Piers, a gym leader known for his dedication to his community, helped stop out-of-control Dynamax Pokémon during a recent emergency. His actions demonstrated the responsibility that comes with the position and highlighted the importance of gym leaders in protecting Galar. Other leaders such as Opal have shaped the history of the league through their long tenures and the passing of their roles to new generations. The tradition of inheriting gym leader positions is an important aspect of Galar's culture, reflecting the value placed on continuity and leadership. The social status of gym leaders is reinforced by their visibility and the respect they command. They are often seen as role models, and their participation in public events is a source of pride for local communities. The challenges they present to trainers are not only tests of skill, but also opportunities for personal growth and achievement. Through their presence and actions, gym leaders help maintain the spirit and unity of Galar, especially during difficult times. While the stories of heroism and disaster are central to Galar's identity, the region's history is also marked by uncertainty and revision. Over the centuries, the details of the darkest day and the roles of its heroes have become obscured. Regional records, including books and statues, often merge the two human kings into a single figure. This simplification has led to the gradual erasure of Zacian and Zamazenta from popular memory. In places like Stow-on-Side, statues depict the ancient kings and the wolves, but the significance of the Pokémon is often overlooked or forgotten. Researchers have noted that parts of Galar's past are presented in legends that blur the line between fact and myth. The true roles of the legendary Pokémon are sometimes merged into broader stories, making it difficult to separate historical events from later interpretations. Library accounts and official region descriptions acknowledge this uncertainty, suggesting that the history of Galar is a mixture of truth, legend, and deliberate revision. The process of remembering and forgetting has shaped the way the region understands its own past. Episodes and stories set in Galar sometimes explore these themes, questioning the accuracy of official accounts and highlighting the gaps in collective memory. The search for the truth behind the darkest day and the legendary heroes continues to inspire researchers, trainers, and storytellers. The mysteries of Galar's history remain an important part of its culture, inviting new generations to explore, question, and learn from the past. Chapter 9, Paldea. Area Zero sits at the heart of Paldea, a place where time seems uncertain, and the past is layered with unanswered questions. Deep beneath the surface, the Area Zero underdepths formed 2 million years ago, shaped by seismic events so powerful, they nearly wiped out Terrapagos, leaving only a single survivor. The bottom of Area Zero holds more than geological history. Explorers have found strange symbols drawn into the ground, and a large steel plate marked with unknown signs. These markings do not match any known culture, and are believed to predate the Paldean Empire by a significant margin. Their purpose and creators remain a mystery, fueling speculation among researchers and trainers alike. The origins of Area Zero are not only ancient, but also shrouded in ambiguity. Some believe the remnants found there could be from civilizations lost to time, while others suggest they might even be from the future. This uncertainty is reflected in the accounts of failed expeditions during the Paldean Empire's Great Age of Exploration. The Empire sent teams into Area Zero, hoping to uncover its secrets, but most never returned. Only 2 centuries ago, an expedition led by Heath managed to reach the bottom. Heath's detailed observations were published in the Scarlet Book or Violet Book, depending on the account, and these writings remain a primary source for those studying the area. The books describe not only the physical landscape, but also the sense of temporal dislocation that pervades the depths. In the game's history class dialogue and exploration scenes reinforce this sense of mystery, showing Area Zero as a place where the boundaries between past and future are blurred. The environment of Area Zero is depicted in both game cutscenes and anime adaptations as a landscape filled with crystalline formations and unusual light. The official region maps highlight the crater's central position, emphasizing its role as both a physical and symbolic core of Paldea. The ambiguity of Area Zero's origins is not just a matter of lost history, but also of ongoing scientific debate. The presence of terrestrial energy crystals, first observed 140 years before the events of the games, adds another layer to the puzzle. These crystals were later analyzed by Professor Sada, or Turo, who began their research 10 years before the games take place. The crystals' properties and their connection to the terrestrial phenomenon have become a central focus for those seeking to understand Paldea's unique environment. Terrestrial energy is a defining feature of the Paldea region. It seeps from the ground, concentrated most strongly in Area Zero, and is responsible for the terrestrial phenomenon that allows Pokémon to change types. This process, known as terastallizing, is enabled by the use of Terra Orbs, which channel the energy into a crystalline transformation. When a Pokémon terastallizes, it gains a Terra type, marked by a distinctive Terra jewel that appears above its head. This transformation is not just a visual change, it alters the Pokémon's type, affecting its strengths and weaknesses in battle. The discovery of terastallized Pokémon dates back 140 years before the games, when researchers first observed the phenomenon in Area Zero. The connection between the crystals and terrestrial energy was established more recently, with Professor Sada, or Turo, determining that the energy emanates directly from the crystals found deep within the crater. This finding, made 10 years before the events of the games, has shaped the way trainers and scientists approach Pokémon battles and research in Paldea. In-game battle mechanics and cutscenes highlight the importance of terastallizing, showing how it can turn the tide of a match. Promotional materials and anime scenes often depict Pokémon undergoing this transformation, their bodies encased in shimmering crystal as they adopt new types. The official region description emphasizes that terrestrial energy is unique to Paldea, setting it apart from other regions. The phenomenon is not fully understood, and ongoing research continues to reveal new aspects of how terrestrial energy interacts with Pokémon and the environment. The ability to change types through terastallizing has become a hallmark of Paldean battles, encouraging trainers to think strategically about when and how to use this power. The presence of terrestrial energy throughout the region, but especially in Area Zero, ties the phenomenon to the broader mysteries of Paldea's history and geology. The Great Crater of Paldea, which surrounds Area Zero, emerged 1 million years before the events of the games. Its formation is not explained by any known natural process, and its sheer size makes it a dominant feature of the region's landscape. The crater acts as a natural barrier, isolating Area Zero from the rest of Paldea and making access difficult. During the Paldean Empire's Great Age of Exploration, which began 2,000 years before the games, expeditions were launched into the crater in search of treasure and knowledge. These ventures were costly, and the financial strain contributed to the Empire's decline 1,000 years before the games. Access to the Great Crater has long been restricted. Research outposts were established 87 years before the games, marking the beginning of a more systematic approach to studying the area. Academic characters such as Professor Sada or Turo have played a central role in ongoing research, using advanced technology to probe the crater's depths. In-game dialogue and region maps reinforce the sense of the crater as a boundary, both physical and intellectual. Only the most determined or well-equipped researchers are able to enter, and even then, the risks are considerable. The Area Zero expedition led by Heath 200 years before the games is recognized as the first successful attempt to reach the bottom of the crater. Heath's findings, recorded in the Scarlet Book or Violet Book, include descriptions of the unique flora, fauna, and geological features encountered during the journey. These accounts have inspired generations of scientists and explorers who continue to seek answers to the questions raised by Heath's work. Anime and cinematic depictions of expeditions near the crater often show teams preparing carefully before venturing into the unknown, highlighting the dangers and the sense of discovery that define research in this area. Academic expeditions in Paldea are not limited to the study of geology or energy phenomena. Researchers have documented the presence of Herba mystica, a rare plant found during Area Zero expeditions. When planted across Paldea, Herba mystica can be consumed by Pokémon, leading to the emergence of Titan Pokémon. These creatures are larger and more powerful than their typical counterparts, and their origins are directly linked to the unique properties of Area Zero. The process of documenting and studying Herba mystica is depicted in the game's storyline, with researchers carefully recording their findings and sharing them with the academic community. The foundation of Naranja Academy or Uva Academy in Misagoza, 805 years before the games, marked a turning point in Paldea's academic history. The academy serves as a center for research and education, attracting students and scholars from across the region. The work of the Paldean Empire's explorers, especially as recorded in Heath's research logs, continues to inspire modern scientific characters. These logs provide detailed accounts of the challenges faced by early expeditions and the discoveries they made, forming a bridge between past and present research efforts. Variant Pokémon are another focus of academic study in Paldea. For example, Paldean Wooper is described as having lived underwater in ancient times, but now inhabits bogs after losing territory to other Pokémon. This adaptation is recorded in the official Pokédex entry, which notes the species' shift in habitat and behavior. Fieldwork and discoveries related to variant Pokémon are depicted in both anime and movie scenes, showing researchers observing and documenting these unique forms in their natural environments. The presence of such variants highlights the dynamic nature of Paldea's ecosystems and the ongoing process of adaptation and change. Paldea's history is characterized by uncertainty and unresolved questions. Much of what is known begins with the emergence of the Great Crater and the founding of the Paldean Empire 2,000 years before the games. However, the historical record is incomplete, and many events remain poorly documented. The story of the treasures of ruin, Wo Chien, Chien Pao, Ting Lu, and Chi Yu, illustrates this ambiguity. According to lore, these Pokémon were awakened by the Paldean Emperor's greed, emerging from merchant treasures and causing a calamity that nearly destroyed the empire. They were eventually sealed in shrines, but the details of these events are not fully known. Lessons at the Academy, particularly those taught by Ms. Ryford, frame Paldea's history as an ongoing mystery. Students are encouraged to speculate about the treasures hidden in Area Zero and the secrets of past expeditions. The official lore leaves many questions unanswered, inviting further exploration and study. The modern Paldea region was established 800 years before the games, when the Paldean Empire unified with neighboring countries. Despite this unification, the region's past remains a subject of debate and curiosity. The reputation of Paldea as a place of mystery is reinforced by its landscapes, its unique phenomena, and the stories told by those who study it. The interplay between ancient history, scientific discovery, and unresolved questions creates an environment where curiosity is rewarded and new findings are always possible. The mysteries of Area Zero, the power of terrestrial energy, and the legacy of academic expeditions all contribute to the sense that Paldea's story is still being written.